What's going on, family? This is King Randall. So I got Facebook going, I got Instagram going, I got YouTube going. I'm gonna explain what has happened with us in the Isabella School. I'm definitely ready to talk about what has happened in between time. I wasn't giving a lot of information about what was going on. I kind of gave bits and pieces of what was happening, but since an article was released by the Doherty County School System, I must clear up a few things, even though Mr. Dyer and I met when we had a good meeting and we talked about everything that happened, but I must clarify a few things that were said in the article that were not true and that were misrepresented. So I'll be going from the beginning tonight. I'll give maybe about 2 more minutes for more people to join, so I'll be waiting for maybe about 2 more people, but I'm going to kind of explain basically everything that went down. I have a small prepared little statement, but then I'm going to go through the emails, I'm going to go through the contract, I'm going to go through everything, so that way everybody can see and completely transparent what actually exactly happened, because we did agree not to make any public statements, which is why I didn't make any public statements in regards to the contract. But there was a statement released by the Albany Herald and I think WALB, but WALB will be releasing our statement as well. But I'm just gonna give this live video, and this is kind of gonna be like almost my last time speaking of this, because I hate drama. I don't like to get into drama, etc. I just kind of want this to dissipate, and we're gonna move on with the other locations that we're looking at right now in the city of Albany. So I'm gonna give people just a little bit more time to get on, and I'm gonna get into it. Y'all like my shirt? It says "Goated." Goated. Go look them up on Facebook. Please go order one of these shirts. This young kid, he just graduated high school. He works at Quick Copy in Albany now. Go grab you a Goated shirt. This was perfect for me. And my hat, it says The Legend. Me and Baby King got matching shirts. My shirt says, my hat says The Legend. His says The Legacy. So me and Baby King, are matching a lot, but I'll get into it in a second. All right. All right, we have a lot of people on. All right, so we have about 170 viewers. Got viewers on Instagram. Let's get into this. Let's get into it. So most people know that the Extra Boys was purchasing a property. We were in the process of purchasing a property from Doherty County School System, which is the Isabella School Campus. We had been in negotiations since December of last year in regards to purchasing this school. There were a few things that happened, mistakes made by myself and other people, on the other side in regards to this purchase. So I'm going to kind of go through everything. I'm going to go through my own statement first before I get into what was said in the article. And I'm going to go into what was said in the emails, the timeline in which all of this has happened, etc. So I'm going to go starting from the beginning. So there was a statement made in the article kind of trying to say that we were raising money in regards to us saying that we purchased the school. Now, let me be clear. We have not purchased the school building from the Doherty County School System. However, when I was making these statements, I think I went on 2 news outlets, if I'm not mistaken, and I did say that we purchased the school, especially if everybody remembers on the Roland Martin interview that went viral, I said we bought the school. However, we had a purchase sale agreement that we were working out with the school system. So I prematurely said in good faith that we had purchased the school because all we had to do really was work out the stipulations and sign on the dotted line. That was it. We had already shown our money. We had already shown that we were going to be able to pay for the building, etc. We were kind of just literally waiting. And we were waiting on things to happen with the local school system. So I'll start by saying, first of all, we never raised any money in regards to us purchasing the Isabella School. Our GoFundMe account that we have, which we've raised $127,000 on, which we have every dime for. Everybody keeps saying, oh, well, in the article, he's saying that we raised money on behalf of us saying that we bought the Isabella School. if I'm not mistaken, the freaking video that we let loose in November, in regard, I think it was November or December, we let a video out about another building that we were trying to purchase at the time, and we had to raise a certain amount of money that we didn't make it to, so we weren't able to purchase that building. So this video went viral on social media. The first video that we did, and we raised up to almost $80,000 already in our account. Before we even made mention of an Isabella School, we had already raised money. November 3rd, thank you. We had already released this video on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. It already went viral. It was already on national news outlets, etc. We had never mentioned the Isabella School, not one time on any of these things. We never mentioned the Isabella School, so they were saying we raised money on that. That's not true. We did not raise money on the Isabella School. We had already raised $80,000 on the Isabella School. They tried to make it seem as if we'd already raised that money. We'd only raised that money from the Isabella School. Now, on our GoFundMe account, we never said or mentioned ever on our GoFundMe that the Isabella School, we were talking about Isabella School. We never even mentioned it, even during negotiations. Even when I announced that we were in a position to buy the school on social media, I never said on our GoFundMe anything about the Isabella School. So at any time we raised money on the GoFundMe, it is never mentioned the Isabella School, not one time on the article. I mean, on our GoFundMe. So all money that we raised never even mentioned Isabella School. And people were questioning our donors, etc., or whatever. Everybody's name is on the donorship, etc. So now we're going to talk about the proposal. So a lot of people were like, well, King Randall, you never submitted anything to Dougherty County school system in regards to what you were trying to do with your school. Yes, I did. I submitted a 4 or 5 page proposal. Let me move my phone. For those of you who are on Instagram, if you want to see everything that I'm trying to show, please go to Facebook or YouTube, because I'll be able to share my screen. But if I'm not mistaken, I'll go to the proposal that I did for Dougherty County Schools, and I think everybody should be able to see the proposal. I did a full proposal to Dougherty County School System explaining everything that we be trying to do with this location. So they weren't oblivious to what we were trying to do. Obviously they knew. I put all the people we had been recognized by at that time, which was a lot of people, but it's been way more people we've been recognized by now. So I sent them a full proposal, and we're going to talk about the timeline of which, well, in between that, we didn't get any discussion or any communication from us or from any communication from the superintendent. The only thing that was really pressing and interesting to me was the non-communication in regards to us talking to the superintendent. It was a lot of miscommunication there. Well, non-communication, I'll say. So let's go to consistently. Okay, so our third point, consistently on every platform, even as we were going weeks without replies, I made Mr. Dyer and the school system look exactly like they were just angels. Every platform that they mentioned that I got on national news or whatever, I got on social media, and I got on Facebook, social media, CNN, Fox, and I praised the Dougherty County school system every time I got on there. I got on Facebook, I got on Fox, I got on CNN, Instagram. I'm like, the Dougherty County school system's working with us. The Dougherty County school system helping us with this. The Dougherty County school system's helping us with that. So, I praised you all on these same outlets, and I made sure I readjusted those statements from which I made and said we purchased a school. I said, well, we're working out the logistics. We're working out. We're in the process of buying. Even the original post that I made about the school on social media, I said we are in a position to procure. I never said at that time that we bought the school. And any other time after the Roland Martin interview and the One American News Network interview, I clearly said over and over again that we're in the process of purchasing. We're working out the logistics with, etc. And like I said, I'll go through the article and I'll put it on screen for everybody as well. So we went through the contract with them on March 29th. Now I want to go through the timeline here of all this happening. So I'm going to go here to the emails between I and the superintendent. And I'm going to start from the beginning with all the dates so everybody could see exactly when we reached out. I called Mr. Dyer, I'm thinking on December the 15th. I don't have that call log because I broke that phone. But I do have from December 16th that he sent me a list of vacated properties. Now, I was calling him on the phone. The first thing I did was I called Mr. Dyer when somebody reached out to me and said, hey, had you reached out to Dougherty County School System? And I said, no, I hadn't reached out to Dougherty County School System. So this is what we're doing. So I said, per our phone conversation, We discussed the possible acquisition of one or more of the vacant facilities that is owned by Dougherty County Schools. I would like to see the list of vacant properties and I would like to schedule walkthroughs. We will also be using the facility as a potential boarding house for young men ages 11 to 17 who are in need of rehabilitation and or intervention. We teach skilled trades such as automotive repair, general contracting, welding, etc. I currently operate this from my home and would love to transition to a facility that will allow the extra boys to take more than 6 boys at a time. Thanks so much for being a partner and helping our boys. I look forward to hearing from you and viewing the properties. So he said, good evening. Thanks for following up. By the end of the day tomorrow, I'll provide you with a list of properties that could be available. And I said, thank you. 300 Casey Street is the top of my list because we had already discussed it on the phone that there were 3 buildings up for demolition. Now, it says, good evening, Mr. Dyer. I was awaiting a list of vacant properties. I'm sure you got tied up. I did mention that my biggest interest was the Isabella School, and I would love to make an offer on that location if you aren't able to get to this list at the moment. Looking forward to hearing from you. So I'll go back. Then next, so I toured the property. I'm going to go to the draft proposal because I called him. Well, he called me and said that he had to get a proposal from me. I had to submit a full proposal about what I was trying to do, with the school. They needed a full proposal because they sold a building before, which was mentioned in the article that it's dilapidated. They sold 16 years ago and people still call about it or something like that. So I was like, okay, cool. Now in my head, I was like, well, I could see why, whoever you may need a proposal for somebody else. I was like, but we kind of got a proven track record of working with children in Albany. I mean, I don't see why we got to submit a proposal, but I guess that's protocol. So I'm like, all right, whatever. But that's what I was thinking at the time. But I'm like, okay, cool. Submitted a full proposal very fast. January the 7th, I submitted a proposal. Submitted a proposal to them. I got letters from the mayor, letters from the chief of police, letters from Colony Bank, Pretoria Fields, Sherwood, etc. All of these people were backing the proposal that I showed them, etc. And they all were in support of this proposal that I sent them. So, and I also sent him the letter again. The mayor sent him a letter in the mail and also sent him a letter via email. And I made sure I resent it to him from Boduro here. I resent it to him to show him, that the mayor and everybody's, pushing up, behind this. So I sent him a final proposal folder. And in the folder, it has articles from the work that we've done and also the letters from the people also letters from of support from people such as Pretoria Fields, and I'll go there. Letter from Ken Bevel, Dr. Morgan, Colony Bank, LA Wire article, New York Weekly article, Yahoo article, etc. Just to put further emphasis on clearly we're not bull jiving, we're not BSing you. We're trying to purchase a school. So January 13th. Follow up. Good afternoon. I was reaching out to see if there are any next steps that I need to take. I know that you informed me that the meeting went well. I called him up via over the phone, and he told me that the meeting went well, and I told him to give me a call when he can. That was on January 13th. Then January 14th, it was a meeting because they wanted me to get the school inspected. So at this time, I had to spend my own money. I spent a few, I think like $5,000 on getting inspections for the school. That's not even the exact amount. That's just like a roundabout amount. I spent $5,000 on inspections for this school. So mind you, I put money into this building already. So I already put money into it, etc. Everything that they asked of me, I got done yesterday. Everything that they wanted from me, I got done extremely fast. Even in the midst of me being busy, even in the midst of me still working with the kids, even in the midst of me having these kids staying in my house, I still made sure this happened extremely fast. I made sure I didn't wait for anything. So I asked, so they told me, well, I needed to present information on how I would be able to take care of the property. So I said, good morning, gentlemen. Would there be a way for you to send over the normal operating costs for the Isabella School Complex, the utilities, etc., so that we can have an idea of the monthly cost? Also, what energy company are the utilities with? So here he said, here's a list of things, days and times we need to, I sent them this. I said, here's a list of things, days and times we need to make this happen. We need to make sure that all the utilities are on to doing a proper inspection, historical cost to operate the property, access to the property, January 15th, 2021, January 18th through the 20th, and full inspection will take place 2 to 3 days, depending on the hours of the access granted. After I receive all quotes, we will provide all necessary documentation needed to show that we can maintain the property at a high level. And thank you. I will reach out if anything else changes. So this is what they wanted me to send. So as a follow-up to our conversation regarding proposal, the purchase of the DCSS property located at 300 Cation Street, the board is interested in moving forward with the process. To that end, we propose moving forward with a due diligence process. The due diligence process will include the following. DCSS will calculate the value of the property using this established process. DCSS will provide to an extent possible the historical cost to operate the property, etc. Purchaser will have a facilities assessment conducted by a qualified contractor, etc. Purchaser will get a quote from a qualified licensed contractor, engineer, architect regarding the cost to implement the improvements, etc. Purchaser will provide evidence that shows purchaser has adequate resources to acquire the property at a negotiated price to be determined. Purchaser will provide evidence that shows purchaser has adequate resources to fund the improvements based on the quote provided. Purchaser will provide evidence or pro forma that indicates the purchaser has or will have adequate resources, financial or in kind, to fund the projected cost to operate the facility. We sent all of that within the week. They had all of that information. We had it within the week. So I said, looking forward to our conversation tomorrow morning. So Mr. Bob Fowler, he sent me the full utilities cost for the property. You can see it here, and I thought it would have been more, but it's actually not that much. This is a yearly cost for the building and whatever years it was running, and so we sent them all of our information and finances on how we would be able to take care of all of that. So we sent all that. Now, when I went to get inspections, I was originally told that I had to tell them when I needed access to the building, and they provide access. When I got to the building, they said that they gave me a set of keys. Mr. Fowler said he was going to cut me a set of keys for the building like that or whatever. I was like, okay, cool. I'll have my own set of keys, blah. They never asked for them back. I didn't know they needed them back. I thought those was my keys. He said, this is your set of keys. You know, y'all can do whatever you need to do in the building, get your inspections done, etc. I'm like, okay, bet. Cool. We got our own keys, blah, blah, blah. So we sent him the inspection report. We sent letters of intent from our donors, etc. that, you know, they've been giving money. They be giving money, yearly endowments, etc. Mind you, these were African-American men, millionaires. And I won't get into their names. So anyway, we sent the inspection report January 27th. Good evening, sir. I was just trying to get an update on what was going on. January 27th. Okay. January 28th. Update inquiry. Good evening, Mr. Dyer. I hope this email finds you well. I hope that I'm not being a bother, but I was trying to see when I would receive an update from you on what's next in regards to us purchasing the Isabella School Complex. It's been a little over 24 hours, so I wasn't sure when I would be expecting to hear from you. Thanks so much. Looking forward to hearing from you soon. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So I said, good evening on February 1st. I would like to have an in-person meeting with you and the attorney at you all's earliest convenience, please. Thanks so much, King Randall. He messaged back on February 3rd. He said, as mentioned previously, this has been a very busy and challenging week. As such, there will be few opportunities for us to meet. Quite honestly, there have been no significant development since the last time we spoke. To follow up on our most recent discussion, the school board attorney, the school board attorney is working on a draft sale and purchase agreement for the 300 Cation Street property. The agreement will include the provisions discussed by the Dougherty County Board of Education once he has completed the draft. I will share it with you for further discussions and negotiations if needed. We have applied our typical formula to calculate the baseline value of the property. This value will be included in the sale and purchase agreement and will be subject to negotiation. I understand and appreciate your eagerness to move swiftly to finalize your acquisition of the property. Unfortunately, disposal of property by the Dougherty County school system is not a speedy process, but we are making steady progress. Rest assured that the Dougherty County Board of Education has expressed a sincere desire to work with you on your vision of acquiring a permanent location to expand the X for Boys program a reality. Also, rest assured that there are no interested potential buyers for this property are currently being considered. I will provide you with additional information as it becomes available. When I first called Mr. Dyer, he said that there was one person interested in the building before, but he gave me a call back to make sure the guy wasn't interested. He said he didn't hear from the guy at all, so that's why we moved forward with this purchase. Now, in the article, it says that there's somebody else that, you know, offered $500,000 or something for the building in the article that was released today. But here it says that there are no interested potential buyers for this property. So that's something, you know, that I wanted to debunk, because he said that, you know, there were people that were interested, and he said that the building wasn't up for demolition. Even in the proposal, I put one of the first sentences says that the building in question is up for demolition. So that's what I said. You know, we all had been saying that the building was up for demolition, but all of a sudden now you're saying the building wasn't up for demolition, even though we talked about the demolition costs, etc. So February 15th. I said nothing back to him from February 3rd to February 15th. During that time, I said, good morning. I know that you mentioned before that there would be few opportunities for us to meet in person. I would like to take one of those few opportunities to meet with you and the attorney. My team and I will be able to meet you at your earliest convenience. Please let me know a day and time that works for you, and you can squeeze in, and we are there. Thanks. So, I messaged him on February 24th. I didn't say anything from February 15th to February 24th. At this time, somebody contacted us and wanted to furnish the school for us. They were going to provide us with bunk beds. They're going to provide us with washers and dryers. They're going to provide us with refrigerators, couches. I mean, they were going to basically furnish the whole school for us. So I sent them an update. I said, we just received word that the company out in Hawaii will be furnishing the school for us. Attach their photos of some of the equipment. They are sending washers and dryers, beds, stoves, camera systems, etc., all the way from Hawaii. We are simply waiting for this to be pushed through. The donor is selling the warehouse since he's giving us all the equipment in it, and he needs to know something ASAP, as do we. We do not want to lose out on this equipment for our school. He says, that's good news. By the way, I should have the sale and purchase agreement from my attorney next week. I'll send it to you once I review it. February 24th. Thanks for your patience. I said, awesome. Also, is it safe for me to go ahead and mention the location in the media? People have been asking and I hadn't talked about it yet. That's February 24th. Also, I'll address the competition comment that they made, that the superintendent made in a second on Instagram. That comment was made and it was admitted by the superintendent. Anyways, inspection reports. We sent all of that, cleaning the facility. Okay, boom. So after the school furnishing thing, I said, one of my supporters who knows what we're trying to do with you all just gave me a call after speaking with their attorney. He says that the attorney mentioned that he was awaiting a response from Mr. Dyer and that he sent an email and asked for him to give him a call. Also, I wanted to know if I could go ahead and start cleaning at the school. I want to go ahead and pressure wash and clean up at the facility if that's okay, just to go ahead and get a jump on it. Thanks. And this was February 23rd. Now, mind you, during this time, I hadn't mentioned anything about the school at all yet. In the media, nowhere. We were still raising money, so we were already almost up to 100K. So I said, good morning, Mr. Dyer, on February 25th. I was trying to make sure you were in receipt of my email about cleaning the facility. Thank you. Say anything about that? Contract update, March the 3rd. I said, good afternoon. I was trying to see if there were any new developments. At this time, there has been no communication. You're looking at the emails, no communication from, the superintendent during this time. At this time, I'm just like, okay, like what's the issue? I understand you're busy, but at this time I have phone receipts. I was calling his phone. I was sending text messages, and I wasn't like being like abrasive. I was just kind of saying, hey, can I get an update? Blah, please, what's up? Like that. So I have all the text messages, all the emails, etc. In which I got no response to, not even I'm busy or nothing, So then we get to March the 8th. I texted him on March the 8th. I emailed him. I said, good morning, sir. Expecting an update on today. Thanks so much. He said, good afternoon. I received the draft of the sale and purchase agreement from the school board attorney today. Once I review it and address any questions I have with the attorney, I will forward a confidential draft for your review and comments. And then this is at this time when I went to our local news station and they asked about what's going on with the school, and I told them we were buying the Isabella School like that. So I did a tour of the facility, etc. And so at this time he said that the issue was about the insurance purposes, etc. And that no work could be done. I'm not sure at the time why WLB said that there had to be work. We were going to start construction or something like that in the next week. I'm not sure why they made that statement. I don't remember saying anything about starting construction or whatever like that. However, he said no work could be done without the express written consent of the Dougherty County Board of Education until the property is sold to your organization. Also, upon following up with Mr. Bob Fowler about granting access to the building, he advised that you still have the keys from the time he provided them to you to facilitate the facility's assessment. We should have retrieved the keys after the facility's assessment was completed. That I didn't know. They didn't tell me. As I'm sure you understand, providing access to the building exposes DCSS to a liability, which is the truth or whatever like that. So I was like, definitely understand that because they could have got hurt or whatever like that. The news reporters, but of course, it was like nobody was in the school. I never, nobody was there. As such, please make arrangement, Mr. Fowler, for the return of the keys. However, we never set up a return of the keys because something happened personally with Mr. Bob Fowler, and we weren't able to get him the keys or whatever like that because something personal happened, and Mr. Dyer told me not to bother him anymore. I said understood. At this time, my manager finally comes into play. His name is Travis Cochran, and at this time we hadn't heard or got back our contract from, after March the 8th, we still hadn't got the purchase sale agreement back. So then my manager messages and said, I'm emailing you this on behalf of myself, my company, and my partners in support of King Randall and his new Life Academy project. He basically explained, all the things that they're doing. The people are part of our group, which is Jameer Jackson, Trent Brown, who are in full support of what we're doing. And they're obviously millionaires. So they're actually taking care of, of the different things we need to take care of for the school. And we had also showed them that they'll be giving us yearly endowments to take care of the facility, etc. So Travis sent this, and Mr. Dyer said, thank you for the email. And then we move forward. So after that, what was this, March the 12th? Okay, that was that email. Okay, so then I messaged on March 16th. I said, good afternoon. Was looking for an update on seeing the contract. Then March 17th, I said, would it be fine for you to tell me a date that you expect this to be finished looking over the contract? Then March 22nd, good morning. I hope all is well. I was hoping to be able to see the contract this week. Let me know how everything's going at your earliest convenience. Thanks so much. Then move forward. March 23rd, Mr. Dyer, if you don't mind me asking, could I get a timeline on when my team and I could see the contract? I understand you're looking over it. We'd like to know a time frame as we've been waiting just to see the contract for quite some time now. Thanks so much. And March 23rd, Mr. Dyer, if you don't mind me asking, could I get a timeline on when I can see the contract? Next, March 30th. March 30th is the date after we actually met. He sent me a text message on my phone, which I'm on Instagram Live now. He sent me a text message, and he said that the assistant would be setting up a meeting for us on Monday, which was, at that time was March 29th. So we finally sat down with Mr. Dyer. We looked at the entire contract. Obviously, we had a few issues, me and Travis looked at. So what we discussed in the meeting was Dougherty County school system could provide teachers for us. They could provide helping teach the core curriculum, etc. I never disagreed to that portion. I didn't mind them coming to teach the core curriculum such as reading, math, language arts, etc. if we could focus on life skills. Now, in the article, it says that I only mentioned I expressed an interest in teaching the life skills. And he says that we never presented a curriculum in regards to how we was going to teach math, science, etc. You never asked me to present a curriculum in regards to the math, the science, all that stuff. You never asked for that. You just kind of asked for a main proposal on what we were trying to do with the building. You never asked for a curriculum. If you asked for a curriculum, we would provide it. However, we didn't have to provide one because you said we was going to work together. We was going to do this big partnership. They would get funding for, helping us with this school because the students would be jointly enrolled almost in our school and Dougherty County school system where they would teach the core curriculum and we would still teach everything that we wanted to teach outside of the core curriculum. However, the issue that I had was in the writing, it said that it should contain a use restriction. The deed of conveyance should contain a use restriction from seller to purchaser that we cannot operate a private or a boarding school unless the Dougherty County school system provides the core educational services. That's where I had a problem. The problem there is it's a handcuffing thing. So basically, they were trying to protect us, and we weren't going to get accreditation by the time we wanted to open. So we were in this meeting. Mr. Dyer, my manager, all came up with the idea of open up this fall. It was Mr. Dyer's main idea of like, if we could provide the teachers and the school buses and the feeding, etc., then we should be able to open up this fall if y'all can get the renovations done. We're like, oh yeah, because Travis was like, we can get the renovations done fast. We was like, yeah, we can get the renovations done because we got all these people promising to come help us, work on the school. People just waiting on us. We had people ready to come help us renovate the school, etc. Celebrities coming to help us with the school, etc. So we were just kind of waiting on them, and we told them, basically we got all these people, ready to help us. At this meeting, we discussed the Roland Martin interview. He was like, hey, we had a few issues, with the board had a few issues with you saying you bought the school, etc., like that. And but like I told them, Mr. Dyer said he told his board that it was in the heat of the moment, and I just kind of said that, because I was a little riled up, etc. However, we were working out the deal at the time. We literally just had to work out the stipulations and sign on a dotted line, and we was going to present the $25,000 of earnest money, and that was going to be done. Or so that could have been handled within a few weeks. So we got the purchase sale agreement back. We looked at it for maybe about 30 minutes, but we sent it to our legal counsel. Now, on the article, it says that we misrepresented what was in the contract. We didn't cut the contract. We didn't slice it up, nothing. We literally posted the special stipulations that we had an issue with. And everybody with eyeballs could clearly see what was on the contract. We didn't hide it. We didn't mess it. We literally just posted up the special stipulations on the contract. But anyway, I hadn't got there yet. I'll get to that. So while we were at this meeting, I said, well, Mr. Dyer, we want to go ahead and do a coming soon video shoot for the school because obviously, we working out the deal, we ready to do this, etc. He was like, okay, I think it's a good idea. Just send me an email in regards to you wanting to do the coming soon video shoot. So I said, okay, cool. The coming soon video shoot was was scheduled for April 18th. He told me to send him an email immediately about it. So I sent him an email and I said, good morning. Thank you for meeting with us yesterday. I know you want me to let you know about the video shoot day. It'll be on April 18th. This will be the coming soon video shoot. Since we don't have a promotional video with the school, we want to make sure we get that done for people who are anxiously waiting. We'll just need access for April 18th. He just told me to send him an email in regards to access, which I did. Now, when we told him about the video, we said, look, because we know you're concerned about the messaging, etc. We weren't even going to say anything on the video. We kind of just want to let people see the school and us kind of cleaning it up around it and just kind of moving around, etc. And then put up coming soon at the end. That was all we was going to do. But we were going to send the video to them for them to approve before we posted it. We said we would send the video to you or whatever like that. So that was on March the 30th. And then at that time, he set up bi-weekly meetings with us. He set up bi-weekly meetings with us where he would meet with us every other Thursday in regards to, us kind of pushing this on. So we set up meetings every other Thursday with Mr. Dyer. However, this does not mean that we're only looking to talk with you every 2 weeks. That's not how this is about to work, especially when we all agreed on a timeline to open up this fall. Especially if you're going to be providing the teachers and we were going to start renovations. Obviously, renovations aren't going to be done in like a month. So we really had to get into the school to go ahead and start renovations for the location. So, we got to he sent us an invitation for the little every 2 week meeting thing or whatever like that. What is this? April 8th. Oh, this is the actual contract. This is the full contract or whatever like that, like the entire contract or whatever. The only thing we had an issue with was the special stipulations. So he sent me the contract in PDF form or whatever like that on April the 8th. So fast forward, he told me to send him an email. So I sent him another email in regards to the video shoot. I said April 18th, we need access to the school for the coming soon video because that's what he told me to do. Travis, he asked a few questions about the contract. He said, Mr. Dyer said, if I recall correctly, you mentioned during our last meeting last week that you'd made some suggested edits to the sale and purchase agreement for the 300 Casey Street property, and that I should expect to receive the feedback by Friday. I don't recall receiving it. If it's ready, I would appreciate receiving it today because I would like to discuss it with the Board of Education during this meeting this evening. If it is not ready, that's okay. I just want to make sure I update the Board of Education with the latest developments, particularly considering the concerns we discussed during our last meeting. So Travis sent a few different questions and things that he was concerned about. He said, thanks for following up. Here's the points we needed clarity on. $25,000 in escrow today. The agreement is signed. This is no matter what the purchase price is, not a problem, just clarifying. 3-year projection, obviously trying to see how long it will take for us to close because we said we'll probably close maybe in 3 to 5 years time when we kind of get all the stuff together that they put on the specifications. But these are all things that Travis, sent him in regards to questions and meaning of the contract. We weren't about to send a red line back for the contract because we needed to all the questions answered. I mean, like we didn't have some of the questions answered. So how are we going to, send a red line back when there was no communication going on? So I sent another email on April 11th. Good morning. Just send a follow-up email. We'll need access to the Isabella location for the coming soon video on April 18th. So we get there. Let's see, access to Isabella. Okay. Then Travis finally called one day, but he said, anyway, good afternoon, gentlemen. Regarding your feedback about the draft sale and purchase agreement, please note the following. The $25,000 will be payable upon the signing of the above reference agreement and credited to the purchase price at the closing. So basically when we sign, we will get the $25,000. And he said, typically a 5-year projection is used for pro forma financial statements. The QBE funding that the DCSS will receive for delivering the core instructional services is to offset the cost of providing instruction. It is unrelated to the acquisition of the property. I am unsure of your questions and concerns regarding the zoning, permitting, licensing, etc. I will be happy to respond once I receive clarity. Regarding your request for access to the building for a promotional video shoot and cleanup efforts, I spoke with the board members about it. The consensus is, since we are still in the very preliminary stages of the negotiation process, that it is premature to allow access for either a coming soon video or a cleanup effort at the site. As mentioned during our March 29th meeting, the board is concerned about the potential impact of the misinformation previously shared regarding the acquisition of the property. As such, we feel that the premature airing of such a video could complicate the matter. As a result, it is our opinion that any such activity should be delayed until at least we have agreed to terms and executed a sale purchase agreement. I understand the decision regarding access to the site might be disappointing. Please know, however, we are still committed to a good faith negotiation and looking forward to working with you through this process. So Travis sent the letter back and he says, thanks, Mr. Dyer, for getting back to us. We'll await the answers on zoning and permits patiently. Of course, concerning the promotional video news, that's very disappointing as we had commissioned staff already to travel for that shoot. He responded to us about the coming soon video on April 15th. This is 3 days before the shoot would happen. So Travis said that's very disappointing news, as we had commissioned staff already to travel for that shoot. If we went ahead and paid the $25,000 down tomorrow, $25,000 earnest money that they said they would need at the time of signing, would that be enough good faith from our end to justify letting us do the video as we further knock out the details? We're committed to getting this done with this location and these ideas we have collectively come up with you. So to us, it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. I say that humbly, but also in the spirit of us wanting to assure the school board that not only will our messaging be non-inflammatory, but that our follow-through on necessary actions will be just as diligent. And then on April 21st, we never received a reply after that. So April 21st, Travis sent a letter, said, "Good morning, Mr. Dyer. In lieu of recent events, we're ready to proceed with the purchase." So at this time, I talked to Travis. I was like, you know what? I said, just bump the special stipulations, bump everything else. We're just going to go ahead and sign. We'll get the $25,000 earnest money, and we'll just make do with what that is, because I'm ready to get into the school. Like, I was very eager to get into the school. I didn't care what was in the contract. I was like, you know what? Bump it. Let's just do it. So we sent him emails in regards to that. So he said, in lieu of recent events, at this point, we've got enough insight and recommendations from people close to our side. Even city officials, Judge Weaver, who's like a brother to my dad, did say that there's precedent for the city to donate the school to us with reasonable contingencies. I would like to know if that's even an option, or whether it's 99% or 70% of the asking price. If not, we're prepared to put the $25,000 deposit and have a range for where our counter price would be. Please let me know your thoughts on this. Then he said, "Hey, Mr. Dyer, on April 26th, just following up on my last email below, please get back to me at your earliest convenience." He said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Cochran. I received a telephone message from you today requesting an update on the 300 Cation Street property. As discussed previously, we are prepared to entertain a counter proposal to the draft sale and purchase agreement presented to you on March 29th. Also, please refer to my April 15th email wherein I addressed the questions you had, but I also asked for clarity regarding your questions or concerns about some of the proposed special stipulations. Once all the provisions of the sale purchase agreement have been agreed upon and or satisfied, we will be in position to move forward with the signing. Also, as agreed to during our first meeting, I set up recurring bi-weekly meetings with you and Mr. Randall to discuss concerns. During our last scheduled meeting during April 22nd, neither you or Mr. Randall logged into the virtual meeting platform. I'll be unavailable this Thursday as I'm working on several end of the year activities. I still, however, look forward to your written counter proposal." So at this time, we got our Thursdays mixed up and we missed the meeting. So then we immediately emailed, of course, and then he said he'll be unavailable this Thursday. So at that time, we both missed meetings. We both missed a meeting, which obviously was a month. Travis sent an email back where he said, "We were prepared to offer $200,000 as a counter offer. In the interest of time and progress, I'd like to start there. The escrow capital wouldn't be a problem. I emailed ahead of our last meeting, but I think we had our Thursdays mixed up. Please accept my apologies on our behalf for that. Can we set next Thursday as our reschedule since you're unavailable this week?" Didn't hear anything back. May the 8th. I think that's a draft that I made. Yeah, it was just a draft that I was going to send on May the 8th. May the 12th. Close on Isabella School. So Travis sent a letter. Travis told me not to send anything else back to Mr. Dyer during this time, because at this time, it was on May the 8th. I said, "Good evening, Mr. Dyer. Just sending a follow-up message. We are ready, down payment in hand. Whenever you are available to sign with us and close this deal, we're there. Time is of the essence, and we're going on 6 months of trying to make this happen. Let's get this done as soon as possible so that we can move forward with serving the children of Albany. The community is ready. We are ready. The world is ready. They're just waiting on us to sign on the dotted line. Thanks, King." Good morning, Mr. Dyer. As previously stated, we are ready, down payment in hand. Whenever you're available to sign with us and close this deal. Now, Mr. Dyer did say, he was like, "Well, you guys said you had a down payment ready," or whatever like that. Of course, we knew that we meant $25,000 in earnest money. That's what we meant. Obviously, there was no down payment discussed in the contract. We discussed earnest money, but we had that money ready. We were just ready to go ahead and sign. So that was May the 9th, May the 10th. Good morning, Mr. Dyer. We hope you're having a great Monday. As previously stated, we are ready, down payment in hand. Whenever you're available to sign with us and close this deal, we're there. Let's make this happen. May the 12th. Good morning, Mr. Dyer. Hope you're having a great Monday. As previously stated, we are ready, down payment in hand. Whenever you're available to sign with us and close this deal, we're there. So Travis sent the last email. He told me not to respond. He sent it May 12th at 11:11 a.m. He said, "We acquired another 40 acres of land in Albany that we plan to do some other things for, but if this deal isn't something that the board is interested in making happen, we can pivot to make new building plans. We want to be sensitive to time and considerations from your side, but we're also losing time and boys to dire situations in our community with no true insight on when we'll be able to take next steps. I'm sure you understand the frustrations because these same kids have been your passion also, or you wouldn't be in the position that you're in. King, his family, his supporters, myself, and my constituents would all like to make this work and be mutually beneficial for all parties involved, but we are truly losing precious time. Please get back to us at your earliest convenience." We never said anything else after that. So then May 26th came. In between that time, let me make sure I get the actual date that I made a post on Facebook, and I told the community to meet me at Turtle Park. That was on May 19th, because at this time we had heard nothing from Mr. Dyer. I told everybody to meet me at Turtle Park on May 20th. We met at Turtle Park on May 20th because that was our next meeting. But we met at Turtle Park with some community members, and we explained to them what's going on with Expo Boys, what we plan on doing, etc. Also, what's going on at Isabella School. We all walked down to the board, and we told them that we would give them an update. Now, we told the community members to stay outside. We did. But the officer let everybody in, and we knew that was a horrible idea. It was a lot of people there. We was going to go back outside and give them an update on what Mr. Dyer said. So everybody was at this meeting. People were recording, but we told them not to put anything on Facebook, not to post anything on social media, etc. Obviously, Mr. Dyer came in. He was a little agitated because so many people were there, and we really didn't want everybody there. The first thing I said when Mr. Dyer came in, I said, well, would you sign this contract if you were me? So then he goes and talk about everything, that's been going on during this whole timeline. But never would he mention the non-communication the entire time from his side. Like, we've literally just been, I even have the text messages. We sent Mr. Dyer, like just back-to-back text messages, back-to-back, and not just like 2 or 3 times a day, maybe one every day or one every other day we would send a text message. So I'll just show the text messages that were sent. Between us, just to show like we were trying to contact, or whatever like that. But it's like he acknowledged that he saw all of our messages, and when we were at this meeting, he acknowledged, everything, about the contract, and that he saw all of our emails, etc. But he wouldn't respond, and I'm just like, well, we didn't even have to go this route. If you would have just said, hey, I'm busy. Hey, well, this is the expected date that I plan to, meet with you all, etc. So the meeting went bad. People got riled up because they didn't like, what he was saying. He did say, and I saw in the article. Now he said, people have this recorded from the meeting. He said at the meeting that the building could be donated if they could prove that it was for public benefit. And we had discussed, just like he said in the article, that the school would be public benefit. For the school system, because they be getting funding, but public benefit for the city. So we already discussed that, but we never seriously discussed the donation of the school. We never did. But now in the article, he's saying that they could give it to us at a significantly reduced price. So he told us 2 different things. He told us, one, at the meeting, that the building could be donated if we could prove that it was for public benefit. You told me that before as well. But then in the article, you say that you couldn't donate it, but you could give, the building at a significantly reduced price, if we could prove it's for public benefit. But this whole contract was negotiable. However, we can't negotiate when nobody's communicating. Like when we're getting no emails, no text messages, none of that. So we left the meeting. It got a little riled up, so he told us to leave, which I understood because I myself and Travis was trying to calm people down in the community, but they didn't calm down. So fast forward, I get 3 phone calls when I left. I got 3 phone calls when I left the meeting, and they said, "Do you want to know what Mr. Dyer said to us while we were trying to talk to him at the end?" They said Mr. Dyer said that when he asked them would they donate a school to their competition. That's like McDonald's giving a building to Burger King. At this point, I got pissed off because after the meeting, I was just like, okay, Travis, we'll figure it out. Maybe this kind of, maybe put a little pressure on him, try to go ahead and get this deal done. Cause I'm just like, it shouldn't take this long. I'm just like, we're just going to go ahead and try to make this happen. It shouldn't take this long. So I'm just like, what's the hold up? We're literally waiting on just a response. Like literally, I talked to banks, real estate agents. They're just like, this could have been handled in like 60 days. If that, cause we could have handled the contract stuff or whatever. So anyway, he said, the competition comment, Fox News gave me a shout that same day, and I was upset, and I was like, sure, I have an update, for you guys. I do have an update. Sure. So I gave an update on Fox, and I told them what was in the contract, and I told them what the superintendent said out of his mouth about competition, and that was it. Now, what I will say right now is I didn't have to make it a national issue. I should have went on to a local, made it local. I didn't have to make it national. I didn't have to go on Fox. However, my passion for my kids and what I do, having these kids here with me every day, having these children have custody of these children, teaching them every day, having these children waiting in the juvenile court system that they know is waiting. I have children waiting like in juvenile court in Chatham County, which is Savannah, have children waiting in Colquitt County, have children waiting. I can't keep all these kids in my house. And I have kids in my house right now as we speak. And for people who's been saying, oh, we don't never see his kids, it's because I don't post every day what we're doing with the children. I don't post all the things that's been going on, with our children every day. I just post certain things that we may do for people to see, but I don't post everything that we do every day. So I get the competition comment. Fox News happened. It blows up. And then I get a call from a local community activist. He calls me and says, hey, King, I want to set up a meeting with you and Mr. Dyer. I said, okay. Okay, we'll set up a meeting. At that point, I took all the posts down that I made about the DCSS. I said, you know what? I said, well, sir, I'll go into this meeting. I want to smooth this over. I want to make this right. I believe we could, still, try to make this happen. So I tried to smooth over with everybody. I took all the posts down. Not from nobody telling me to take the post down, nothing. I took the post down because I was like, well, we can meet now and finally make this happen. But at the same time, I'm just like, man, if you can make a meeting now and you can cut something out now that we went on Fox News and stuff, I'm like, why we couldn't get a meeting with you before? I can get a meeting with you about this, but I couldn't get a meeting with you about, trying to go ahead and finalize the purchase for this school. I'm like, and we done already presented that we got the money. We done presented that we'll be able to take care of the school. We presented all this stuff. We done presented all of this stuff, in regards to the kids. And just like Travis was saying, and I don't even try to get into like this is what he's saying in the comment. I don't even get into like what's going on at my house. I had a kid just dropped off at my house 2 weeks ago. His mom dropped him off, said basically she don't want him no more. I need you to do something with him. I ain't heard from the lady since. And I have him staying with me now. He lives with me. And I don't talk about these issues. I don't talk about what's really going on. I don't talk about what I'm doing for the kids every day, et cetera. Because that's not my intent. I barely post anymore what we're doing. We headed to New York tomorrow. I got my kids in here. We're finna go to New York. As soon as I get off this live, I'm headed to Atlanta. Because we got to go fly to New York to go teach some other kids in another community and go donate some tools to them to help them start their own automotive repair service. I'm like, we're constantly doing things, for our kids. So we get to the meeting. We have two local community activists there. Myself, Travis, and Mr. Dyer. So Mr. Dyer gives his spiel. He says, well, he doesn't know where he's gone wrong, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, okay, well, let's start here. And one of the other activists, said, well, did Mr. Dyer just lie? Travis says, no, he didn't lie, but he left out a whole lot of information, which was all the non-communication. I don't expect, how people see us negotiating when we don't get any communication. We can't negotiate when nobody's talking to us. He stood on, we set up bi-weekly meetings, with the superintendent. We set up bi-weekly meetings with them. And he was like, a lot of people don't get no meetings with me like that. But at the same time, you think we only finna talk to you only at those meetings every 2 weeks? By the time we hash out the deal, it's going to be next year. It'll be 2022 when we finally, kill this, make this deal happen. That's not how this is about to work. I'm like, no, we need to make this happen now. I'm like yesterday. And he was like, well, I'm busy, etc. like that. So I said to him, to his face, I said, well, Mr. Dyer, let us get out your hair. Help us finish this and make this move faster. I was like, let's make this move or whatever like that. So anyway, we sat in the meeting. We hashed it out. We talked about it. I apologize for going on Fox. There was some miscommunication saying that I admitted to lying on Fox. Never did I say that. I apologize for going on Fox because I didn't have to make it a national issue. I could have left it local and we could have handled it ourselves. But okay. So, but anyway, we hugged it out and we agreed that we were going to work, together in the future like that. We both agreed not to make any, public statements. We agreed not to make any public statements. We said we were going to make a statement, later on. However, we get back on social media, and this meeting, mind you, this meeting was supposed to be, confidential. This meeting between I and Mr. Dyer, was supposed to be confidential and things like that. So, we get on social media the next day and there are, detractors who don't like me for whatever reason, on there talking about, they got all the details from the meeting and, et cetera. And I'm like, who gave basically minutes to the entire meeting that we had? It was supposed to be private. So clearly somebody breached, the agreement that we had, at the meeting. Somebody breached that and they gave information to somebody, they gave information to somebody about the entire meeting. They called themselves one on the whole live. And, of course I didn't respond because none of the accusations were true. And obviously I'm not going to give any power to your platform. Sorry. So, but yeah, somebody went on, Facebook Live and, been giving these saying stuff about me every day, and stuff like that. So it's just been an interesting process. And then to see this article, out on social media, I was just like, you know what? Then, not to mention, at the beginning of the article, they said they closed negotiations. That is not true. I closed negotiations. I closed negotiations with Doherty County School System before. Here's the thing. I sent them a full thing. They talking about they closed negotiations with us. No, I ended negotiations. And here's the letter. I said, "Dear Mr. Dyer, after careful consideration, we would like to officially end negotiations on the Isabella Elementary purchase. Last week's events and subsequent information we've been given since our last meeting led us to believe this is not a partnership the board is truly interested in being a part of at this time. This is a tough conclusion that we've come to based on, but not limited to, how long this has taken, some of the blatant counterproductive stipulations in the purchase sale agreement, and comments that you reportedly made about us being your competition," that he admitted at this meeting, by the way. I meant to go back and say he admitted that he made the statements at the meeting. And so he apologized, and he said, "I take responsibility for these statements." He made those statements or whatever like that. Now that may not be the mindset of the whole board, but that's something that he said, and he admitted to saying that he made the competition statement. Anyway, that you reportedly made about us being your competition, and that being why there were no efforts to donate the soon to be demolished building to help with our efforts. Despite precedents for doing such, the benefit our program could bring to the community and the board, and a plea from the mayor and hundreds of thousands of other supporters around the country, that was never seriously even proposed. Now we have an idea why. It is our sincerest hope that one day our efforts won't be seen as being in competition with you nor the Doherty County School Board, but as an extension of what our city offers collectively to help our kids before it's literally too late. We do not wish to compete, we wish to contribute, and that will never change. We would love if all collective parties could be on the same page with doing what is best for the community. And as pertains to our specific focal point, what is best for the young boys here that are in dire need of mentorship, exposure, and development. It is disheartening that we could not negotiate in kind, but God is all knowing, so we will follow his lead and keep pushing for progress. For faith without work is dead. Kind regards, the X for boys. And we left it at that. That was the end of the negotiations until we had the meeting with Mr. Dyer. This is a statement we made. And there's an article now that says that they ended negotiations and certain things that were misrepresented, etc. Again, I felt like I would have did better just saying we was opening a soup kitchen and we would have got the deal pushed through faster. But this is where we are, and like I said, I don't really wish to get into it. I'm not doing any name calling, etc. And also, just to clarify, I'm not sure if a lot of you saw the post, that I made, because some people were saying, oh, he didn't say the competition comment. There are, multiple people at the meeting that, confirmed that, as well as he did, confirming that he made the competition comment. That absolutely made me upset, especially after moving forward. But we move forward. We have another building that we're looking at, but I'm not going to release any information this time, because last time I released information, just basically because, we had a deal in kind, basically we were working on the purchasing process. Like, we literally had to sign a deal. And that was it. And that's kind of how that happened. I was excited. Everybody was excited. And also, again, not to mention, on the post that we made in regards to the school, we always said that we are in the process of purchasing, etc. So I went and took back those statements I did make about purchasing the school or whatever. And I readjusted them. And I said, we are in the process of purchasing. We're working out the logistics of, etc. So I never made mention of buying the school again after that. So that's worth mentioning. So again, to take off the fact that, we were raising money in regards to the Isabella School, that is untrue. We already had almost $100,000 before the Isabella School was even mentioned in the media. We had already been raising money. And plus, just for those people who keep saying, oh, you need to give the money back, you need to give the money back, dude, we have, first of all, half of the people that keep saying you need to get the money back didn't donate a dime. Secondly, if my supporters wanted the money back, we could give it all back tomorrow if they asked for it. However, our GoFundMe does not say it's for a specific building. It says for a school. That's what our GoFundMe says. It says for a school. So it's not for a specific building. Even if we build the school, it's not for, our GoFundMe never said anything about a specific school. And also, not to mention, our GoFundMe never mentioned the Isabella School. So to get those statements out of there talking about, we been raising money out the Isabella School, that is untrue. We backed out of this deal simply because of what was said, and basically what was given in the contract, period. So it is what it is. We didn't like what was in the contract. And even at a point where I was going to say, you know what, bump it, we were going to sign the contract anyway when I didn't like it, they still wouldn't even reach out back out. When we said we just going to go ahead and get the $25,000 and we're going to sign on the dotted line. We was going to go ahead and sign it away. And we was just going to do something else. We was going to figure it out. What? We don't even reach out for that. So I'm just like, how you expect us to negotiate when no communication is going on? The big things keep saying, oh, they're communication was lapsed. The communication, their big thing was what they were saying, because we kept talking about communication, but they kept saying, oh, it's up for negotiation. The contract was negotiable. The contract for negotiable. The contract was negotiable. But how are we gonna negotiate when I just showed everybody that there was no communication, going on? Like, it's happening months at a time. And all of us came up with the idea to open the school in the fall. If most of you remember, when I first said something about us opening the school, what did I say? King Randall said, we're going to open the school next year because we got to get the necessary licensing. We got to open up the school, etc. You got to get the boarding, the facilities, ready. We're going to open up next year and we got to get accreditation. Now, some people was like, oh, the school ain't going to be accredited and you ain't got no curriculum, blah, blah, blah. Dude, first of all, for us to even open a school, we have to get accredited. So we can't even open the private institution or the board institution without getting the licensing. So all that was going to be done. We didn't have an issue with them saying that in the contract because we was got to get that done anyway for us to even open up. But we couldn't open the school unless we had accreditation. That's how that was going to work, regardless of if they asked for it or not. So we was going to have to get accredited. And if they would have asked us for a curriculum, we would have provided one. People keep saying, they was like, oh, well, I said, they was like, oh, you didn't present nothing to the school board. You didn't present, this, that, and third. I submitted a full proposal and I never, said, anything, in regards to the contract or whatever. I said, I'm sorry, I'm reading comments and y'all throwing my train of thought off. But I said, from the get-go, that we were going to purchase the Isabella School and, that we were still in negotiations with Dougherty County School System after I made this statement. So all the stuff that's in that article that I read, it's a lot that's misrepresented and untrue. But like I said, most of you have seen, our curriculum. I know a lot of people was like, oh, King is that's where I was going. Oh, King is gonna act like he's gonna teach it all by himself. That's not what's gonna happen. I'm like, do you know how many people, how many former superintendents, how many school teachers, even teachers from the Dougherty County school system asked to come teach at our school? So I'm just like, I've had teachers from DCSS call me and want to come teach at our school. So I'm not even going with there. I've had plenty, teachers and superintendents that were working with us to help us out getting this curriculum together. We had a curriculum that we were working on. If that was asked for, we would have provided it, because everything else they asked us for, we gave to them yesterday. We gave it to them very quickly. Everything they asked for us, it was done like in a day or two. It was done fast or whatever. So all this other stuff that people been saying on social media, because I have not been responding, I had not been responding because we both agreed not to make a statement. And so since some statement was made, I got to make a statement myself, because you're not about to try to make me look like some type of fraud or something like that, or I've been lying to people, etc. like that. No, the only misstatement I said was I bought the school before we bought it. That is what it is. However, I only said that because we had a purchase sale agreement that was ready for. Y'all said we wanted to move forward with the purchase like that. So we're all excited. My whole team, my whole camp, when they said, oh man, look, we got a purchase sale agreement, they said we want to move forward. So I'm just like, yes, we all excited over here. Me and the boys like, yeah, we finna get to school, blah, blah. We all excited because we got the purchase sale agreement. I just bought 40 acres of land. You can go look that up on Q Public. I just bought 40 acres of land, and when I get a purchase sale agreement, I bought a house. I got a house. When we get a purchase sale agreement is simple. You provide the money. We already discussed the terms. Boom, boom. You sign. You get the money. Bygone. That's all done. However, I've never seen a purchase sale agreement where the freaking seller tells the purchaser what they can and can't do with the building they're buying. I would not have had any problem with the stipulations if the building was being leased or rented or donated. We were going to buy the school. So there should be no stipulations if we're purchasing something. I mean, good God. that's just like me buying a house. This is literally what it sounds like for them saying we can't open our own school unless they teach. That's like me saying, that's like, hey, you sir, I'm gonna sell you this house. However, with you buying it, you can't ever live in here unless we live in it too. That's exactly what it says. I'm just like, that makes no sense. I'm like, we're not about to do that. So anywho, we got stuff in the works. We have stuff planned. And this literally was just a 7-month, time frame that we was kind of waiting, on this stuff to happen. We had other buildings that we could have looked at. We had other people trying to help. We had celebrities trying to help, etc. We could have been working on something else. However, we wanted to work with Dougherty County Schools, as we still want to work with Dougherty County School System. Regardless of all this, I still want to work with them. I still want to see if we can find some type of partnership for our kids, because at no point during all these fussing, etc., was nobody talking about the kids. We mentioned that our kids were dying, etc., and nobody really wanted to discuss the children. I'm just like, can we do something to get the kids in the school building? I'm like, Mr. Dyer, I got kids waiting. I'm like, I got kids juvenile court system. I got kids that are in foster care system, etc. They're waiting. And so, for people who keep saying stuff like, oh, he be acting like he the only person doing this. I never said I was the only person doing this work. I never said that, that we the only this, that, and the third. I will say that we the only program in Southwest Georgia dedicated to juvenile offenders that's taking temporary custody of children. So for the other local activist that was in there with me, he's gonna tell me that I'm 21 years old and I'm nobody's savior. And I'm just like, it's nuts. I'm nobody's savior, and I act like if I don't do it, nobody else is gonna do it. Well, sir, that's the only reason I'm doing it, because ain't nobody else doing it. So that's where I stand, period. So for juvenile court, the juvenile court system to call me, and the public defenders and the probation officers from other counties outside of Albany, not to mention, even with the whole competition thing, we're not even trying to take kids from Dougherty County School System. Our kids will be coming from the juvenile court system, other counties, etc. Sure, we may have gotten a few kids from Dougherty County School System, but that wasn't going to be the whole main thing. So I'm just like, we're trying to buy the school, man. I'm just like, we can't have no special stipulations. Even though we had the contract since March 29th, we still waited and never said anything. We got no real communication back from him until after the Fox News meeting happened. So now we at a point where I could call or text or whatever. We constantly, getting fast communication now. I'm just like, well, if we would have had fast communication from the get-go, we would have been in the school already. And let me reiterate, I never had an issue with them wanting to teach at the school. I didn't. That wasn't the issue. The issue was them saying that we couldn't open our own school unless they had something to do with it. And I'm like, nah, that ain't gonna fly. Sure, you can come teach. Yes, we can have this partnership. We can put that in writing or whatever. However, you can't tell me what I'm about to do with a building that we're buying. I can say we was rented or something, but we're not about to do that. Anybody with common sense, our real estate agents, random. I just sent it to anybody. I was like, hey, bro, just look at this. Did you just look right to you? People like, no. What do you mean? They was like, this looks horrible. Why would you sign this? I'm like, no, we didn't sign. They're like, nah, send something back, but we had questions. But again, we could never negotiate again if we get no communication. So that's where we at. The school system would have been getting funding for our students coming to our school. We're going to do this big partnership with them, etc. I didn't have a problem with them getting funding or whatever. You scratching my back, I'm scratching yours. However, I'm not about to do this whole shebang where y'all tell me I could never open a school. That's not our intent. Our intent from the get-go, from the full proposal, was for us to open a boarding school. I didn't ask for, from the get-go, I never even said anything about us, partnering with them, etc. or whatever. But I did say I wanted to work with them. I didn't want to be competition. So they did come up with a partnership. And I thought the partnership was great. So I was ecstatic and excited about the partnership until I look at this contract and I'm just like, I'm not signing that part now. You can take that out. I ain't not opening our own school unless y'all got something to do with it. That don't make no sense or whatever. So it is what it is. That's like my last real time, like just saying something about it. I don't really have much else to say in regards to just this whole process, etc. I'm just trying to let this go ahead and bypass, because like I said, we have other stuff that we're looking at, that's it. We have other buildings that we're looking at, but we're not going to say anything until we drop this next building. However, my boys and I are headed to New York tomorrow. We'll be going to do a workshop with some young men up in the Bronx area. Also, this trip is sponsored, by the way, because I did see, some people saying, they taking, unnecessary trips and blah, blah, blah. These people are sponsoring us to come teach their children where they are. And even when I go, I'm still donating when I get there. I'm donating tools to these young men so they could go ahead and start working out, and doing automotive repair service where they are. Just like we did when we went to Los Angeles. I taught them how to do it, and I allowed them, even their dads were even standing there. I taught their dads how to do it, and their dads been showing their sons. I be getting pictures from them and everything, and they're showing us what's going on, and they're just like, man, we appreciate you, etc. So I don't want to hear none of that. We know what we're doing. I'm taking these kids who I've trained, a lot, to work on cars, etc. And they're going to go instruct these other kids when we go to New York. We're going to go there and donate more tools to these children in the Bronx. We're going to the Garvey School to go teach children up there. So, that's where we at. And I know some people were saying, oh, well, some children have had a bad experience. You doggone right. Some kids have bad experiences when you come to the X for Boys. The X for Boys is not a fun place for boys to be. This is about strict discipline. You have plenty of children that have come through here and hated it. They said they never want to come back. They hated it, etc. Absolutely, they hated what we were doing because there's discipline here. And many of the children that I get, a lot of them, over 90% of them, don't have a father, so they're not used to some structure and somebody telling them what to do and telling them to get up at a certain time and make up your bed and all that stuff. They do this every day. So some children absolutely have bad experiences. Yeah, they got some choice words said to them, etc. That's what happens because I'm trying to develop men. That's what we're doing. So we're not, having fun all the time and, kiki and ha-ha and all the time. That's not what this program is about. I told parents before, if you think this program is for fun, this is not the program for your child. If you're scared for your child to be disciplined, it's not a program for your child. If you're scared of any of this, in regards to what we're talking about, it's not a program for your child. So it is what it is, but that's where I stand. So, it is what it is. I'm going to get off of this live. I'm not saying anything else about it. I may say something, if somebody asks, whatever, but I'm not gonna, again, just keep going at this. I hate drama, but I needed to clear, I need to clear this up. I definitely needed to clear this up, because that article was it made me seem, people trying to make it seem like I'm some type of fraud and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, anyway, we got stuff to do. Me and the boys got a flight to catch. Next week, we will start our project with building houses. So please make sure that you are staying up to date with the X for Boys. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, what have you. Please make sure you're paying attention to everything we got going on, because we got boys finna start building some houses this summer. It is about to be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful, man. So like I said, please keep me up to date on everything that you guys got going on. I get a lot of emails, etc., about your children, etc. So please let me know. We try to answer every email. Please don't take it personal if we're not able to answer your emails. I am sorry. We're not able to answer emails. Yes, I see. Kwame Brown reached out to me. Kwame Brown reached out, and he and I are in discussion. We may or may not do something, me and Kwame Brown, so we'll talk about it. But anyway, we talked to Kwame Brown, so thanks for letting us know that. But like I said, please don't take it personal if we're not able to answer your emails, etc. And even if most people know, to again knock at the donation comment and saying we were taking donations, etc. I rarely ask for donations. I almost don't have to ask because God provides. God provides for us everything that we need. So I never really had to ask for donations. Most shows and most things I go on, they'll say, tell people how to donate, man. People need to, donate to what you're doing, etc. So either way, I can see if I was raising money and I wasn't a solidified program, or I hadn't been doing no work. I've been doing this for 2 years. I've been working with my children. I've been doing this. We've been building houses. Working on houses. We've been painting houses. We've been doing firearms training. I've been doing this for 2 years. We've been doing this work. So I got a proven track record. It ain't like something gonna stop. A school's still gonna open this fall, regardless. I don't care if I gotta get some modular units. I already bought a school bus. I bought the school bus because I thought that we moving forward with the school system. So I'm like, shoot, we gotta get a school bus now. I went and bought a school bus cash money with my personal funds. So that's something, we bought, but we still got a school bus. I bought 40 acres of land. I'll get some modular units and put some modular units on our land and start our school. And we'll start with 70 kids until we grow. Something's gonna open this fall, regardless of this happening. Because no man can stop what God has ordained. And now since I done cut the grass, and I'm noticing all the snakes, it is what it is. I watch all these people, that supposedly been supporting or supposedly quietly not saying anything and saying all these, negative things about me and talking about my family and my personal life, etc. I pay attention to all of it. So, and I still love everybody the same. Everybody who's made a bad video about me, etc., they can call me right now and ask for the shirt off my back, and they got it, because that's what I believe in. So like I said, God got us. Big boy faith. It is what it is. Like I said, I love everybody. And peace out. I'm gonna play some music to let y'all out of here, because I love this Tony Royce Jr. I love it. Yeah. All right, Instagram. Peace out. Let me get them off Instagram. How I end the live? Oh, there you go. Boom. All right, y'all. That's everything. All right, y'all. Like I said, peace out. I love y'all. Me and the boys got a flight to catch tomorrow. Stay up to date with us for New York. Stay up to date with us for the summer program. The boys will be building houses. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful. I love everybody.